I really hate summer because I don't like showing a lot of my skin.
The word goth does keep coming to my mind. Is there like a secret goth inside you?
Absolutely.
I goth-inspired. Let's start with the aesthetic. This look is very dark and moody, so it creates a serious, slightly mysterious atmosphere. You could also say it's hauntingly beautiful, which means beautiful, but in a slightly sad or emotional way. It has a dramatic feel, very strong, expressive, and maybe a bit edgy, so bold, slightly rebellious. Try repeating dark and moody. Dark blends with and, dark and moody, hauntingly beautiful. May 22nd is International Goth Day. It's a day to celebrate goth culture, including fashion, music, literature, and art. But Gothic actually started a long time ago. During the 12th to 16th century, Gothic architecture boomed in Europe. Think of buildings like Cologne Cathedral in Germany or Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Very tall, dramatic, detailed. In the late 18th century, Gothic literature began. Stories focused on mystery, fear, and strong emotions. In the 19th century, famous books like Frankenstein or Dracula came about.
She is the queer goth girl who invented the science fiction and fantasy genre. She invented this genre with Frankenstein.
Gothic literature is basically a mix of horror, romance, and mystery. You often see dark settings like castles or ruins, feeling of suspense or danger, supernatural elements like ghosts or vampires, and very emotional or intense characters. Dark, mysterious, dramatic, and then in the 1970s and 80s, goth became a music and fashion subculture from post-punk. All right, let's talk about social stigma. Because goth style is associated with dark clothing, heavy makeup, themes like death and melancholy, people often have stereotyped it as depressed, dangerous, or antisocial. This has sometimes led to judgment, exclusion, or pressure to look normal.
You're most likely not going to be bullied for fitting in. So this is where alternative styles come in. There's always been a conflict between basic popular kids and different kids, you know? It's usually a form of preppy versus goth, clean cut versus edgy. It's a tale as old as time.
In some periods, especially the late 1990s and early 2000s, goths were unfairly linked to violence or negative behavior in the media.
To add good measure, Bill's son ends up becoming a goth cocaine dealer.
Jesus, son, what'd you cut this with?
Shut up, bitch.
This created fear and misunderstanding, even though there's no direct evidence that goth identity causes violence. Today, things have improved in many places, especially with more acceptance of alternative fashion and self-expression. But stereotypes still exist, and people with alternative styles can still face judgment or misunderstanding. People make assumptions based on appearance. Have you ever been judged for the way you dress, for your fashion style? Is self-expression fully accepted in your culture? In films and media, goth cultures are often shown as dark, rebellious, or even dangerous. Remember the iconic character from The Craft, Nancy Downs? Her character is very edgy and powerful, but also unstable. So people might associate goth style with being aggressive or troubled, even if that's not accurate in real life. This is a good example of how media can shape stereotypes. Movies influence how we judge people's appearance. Do you agree or disagree? Can you think of examples to support either way? I'm going to show you a real article about goth subcultures. I'm actually going to read the entire article so you can read along with me, and if there are any words that trip you up or are difficult for you to pronounce, just pause the video, practice pronouncing it, and then continue. And there's a simple idea we can take from this article. Goth isn't just one style. It's not a monolith. It has different subcultures. Okay, pardon me, I do need to put on my glasses to read this article for you. An Ultimate Guide to Goth Subcultures, 3rd January 2025, words by Celine Kerr. The goth scene, kicking off in the early 80s, has seriously stood the test of time, morphing into one of the most diverse subcultures out there. It started with the iconic gloomy music, the all-black everything look, and a deep dive kind of attitude, but it didn't stop there. The scene's been like a sponge, soaking up bits from books, movies, and different eras, making it this ever-evolving, super rich mosaic of styles. We've got everything from the classic brooding Victorian goth to the high-tech neon-lit cybergoth. Here we have your ultimate guide to navigating the immortal variety within the goth universe, showcasing just how creative and varied this crowd can be. Original or classic goth? Classic goth style, born from the depths of the late 1970s and early 80s post-punk scene, wraps itself in a cloak of somber elegance, boasting dark, often monochromatic attire that whispers tales of mystery and melancholy. This style is characterized by its stark monochromatic color scheme, predominantly featuring black. Fashion elements include lace, velvet, leather, and intricate brocade, often adorned with silver jewelry, crucifixes, and symbols of the macabre. Classic goth makeup emphasizes pale foundation contrasted with dark and dramatic eyes and lips, completing a look that is as much a personal statement as it is a nod to the subculture's roots in Gothic literature and music. Romantic Victorian goth. Inspired by the 19th century Victorian era and Gothic literature, this subcategory is known for its historical costumes, romantic lace, and period accessories, with a dark twist reflecting a fascination with death and the macabre. This subgenre luxuriates in the opulence of historical costumes, where flowing gowns, corsets that cinch the waist, and billowing sleeves are rendered in a palette dominated by deep blacks and rich purples. Every detail, from the delicate tracery of lace to the intricate patterns of brocade, accessories like cameos, filigree jewelry, and ornate parasols add layers of romance and mystery. Yet it's the dark twist on this finery, embracing themes of death, the supernatural, and the macabre, that truly defines the romantic Victorian goth. Cybergoth. Cybergoth is a fusion of the dark, mysterious goth aesthetic with the futuristic elements of cyberpunk and rave cultures, creating a style that's as bold as it is innovative. This subgenre stands out with its use of neon colors, breaking the traditional goth palette with bright pinks, greens, and blues that glow like the lights of a futuristic cityscape. Fashion staples include PVC or leather clothing, often accented with reflective materials and circuitry patterns. I think I started to pronounce it in the Spanish way, circuitry patterns, alongside an array of futuristic accessories like goggles, respirator masks, and cyberlocks. Synthetic materials dominate, symbolizing a connection to the digital world, while the music, a mix of EBM, electronic body music, and industrial, sets a rhythm that is both mechanical and intensely energetic. Cybergoth is a statement of contrast, blending the somber with the synthetic and the traditional with the technological, for a look that's as much about personal expression as it is about envisioning a neon-drenched dystopian future. Okay, Gothabilly. Gothabilly is a style fusion that marries the dark, enigmatic guilt of goth with the dashing, nostalgic vibes of rockabilly, drawing heavily from Americana of the 1950s. This subgenre presents an aesthetic that reimagines vintage clothing through a darker lens, favoring a palette that veers towards the shadowy and somber while still embracing the iconic silhouettes and patterns of mid-century fashion. Think polka dots, leopard prints, and classic pinup styles, all tinged with a gothic sensibility. Black leather jackets, lace trim, and dark floral patterns. Accessories often include bandanas, vintage hats, and chunky jewelry. The music of Gothabilly is an intriguing blend as well, mixing the upbeat tempos and the twangy guitars of rock and roll with lyrical themes that are decidedly more macabre and introspective. This fusion creates a subculture that's both a nostalgic nod to the past and a daring exploration of the darker corners of style and sound. Lolita Goth. Lolita Goth is a delicately dark subculture that weaves together the innocence and intricacy of Victorian and Rococo fashions with a distinctly macabre twist. This style is characterized by its emphasis on modest, doll-like dresses that envelop the wearer in layers of lace, ruffles, and bows, all while adhering to a darker color scheme that is within the Gothic side of the spectrum. The aesthetic is both enchanting and eerie, featuring high-necked blouses, knee-length skirts, and an abundance of accessories such as bonnets, knee-high socks, and platform shoes. What sets Lolita Goth apart is its ability to juxtapose the inherent sweetness of the Lolita silhouette with elements of the occult and the supernatural, incorporating motifs like skulls. Speaking of bats, we move on to Vampire Goth. Vampire Goth is a darkly seductive style that draws its lifeblood from the veins of vampire mythology and fiction, embracing an aesthetic that is as elegant as it is nocturnal. This subculture luxuriates in a wardrobe dominated by the contrast of red and black, symbolizing the allure and danger associated with its undead muses. Clothing often features a dramatic flair, including velvet capes, lace-trimmed velvet gowns, and high-collared shirts, all of which pay homage to Victorian elegance and the timeless fashion of the vampire legends. Accessories are key, with chokers, intricate silver jewelry, and sometimes even fangs adding to the mystique. Cabaret Goth. Cabaret Goth is the decadent, shimmering world of vintage cabaret and burlesque, blending the sultry allure of these timeless performance arts with a distinctly Gothic twist. This style revels in the theatrical, where corsets cinch tightly to sculpt the body, fishnets hug the legs, and feathers and lace add a touch of dark, opulent glamour. The fashion is a mix of old world glamour and modern grunge, showcasing a palette that often combines the rich, deep hues of the Gothic aesthetic with the sparkling accents of cabaret costumes. Accessories play a vital role with dramatic makeup, bold jewelry, and elaborate headpieces, completing the transformation into a cabaret goth persona. Industrial goth, or rivet head. Industrial goth is a gritty, visceral expression of the goth subculture, intertwined with the abrasive beats and dystopian themes of industrial music. This style manifests a raw, mechanical aesthetic, drawing inspiration from the cold, unforgiving nature of industrial landscapes. Fashion within this subculture leans toward the utilitarian, with a preference for military-inspired clothing, stark, functional pieces, and an abundance of metal accessories that add a sharp, menacing edge. The color scheme is dominantly black, accented with hints of steel gray or metallics, reflecting the harsh industrial environment that inspires it. Industrial goths often incorporate elements such as combat boots, band patches, and riveted belts, embracing a look that's as much about resilience and defiance as it is about personal expression. New Goth. New Goth, or modern goth, represents a fresh evolution of the Gothic aesthetic, blending traditional goth elements with the sleek, streamlined sensibilities of contemporary fashion. This subculture adopts a more minimalist approach, steering away from the elaborate ornamentation of classic goth to embrace a cleaner, more sophisticated look that still pulsates with a dark, moody vibe. New goth fashion is characterized by its use of stark black clothing, often combined with strategic pops of color or patterns to add depth and interest. The silhouettes are simpler, favoring clean lines and form-fitting designs that offer a modern twist on Gothic glamour. Key pieces include oversized sweaters, skinny jeans, and ankle boots accessorized with chokers, wide-brimmed hats, and statement jewelry that nod to the Gothic roots while keeping the overall aesthetic grounded in the now. Bubblegum Goth. Bubblegum Goth, playfully dubbed Pop Goth, serves as an unconventional twist on traditional Gothic aesthetics, infusing it with the effervescent charm of pop culture and an array of bright, eye-catching colors. This subgenre breaks from the solemnity of classic goth to embrace a more whimsical, lighthearted approach, while still nodding to the dark, introspective themes that define its roots. Fashion-wise, bubblegum goth burst with pinks, purples, and neon hues, boldly contrasted against black to maintain a Gothic edge. Outfits often mix traditional Gothic elements like lace and leather with playful patterns, cartoon graphics, and quirky accessories, blurring the lines between dark and delightful. Hairstyles and makeup follow suit with vibrant colors and experimental, bold looks. The goth subculture's enduring appeal lies in its ability to evolve and embrace a vast array of influences, resulting a vast array of subcategories, each with its unique identity. This diversity not only showcases the creativity and individuality of its members, but also ensures the continued relevance and vitality of the goth movement. Whether drawn to the elegance of Victorian goth or the futuristic vibes of cybergoth, there's a place within this multifaceted community for everyone. As the goth subculture continues to evolve, it invites us to explore and express the darkest aesthetic desires. The original source, please go to underground-england.com. If you've learned something today about goth subcultures, or if you know more you'd like to add to the conversation, please hop into the comments and let us all know. This lesson wasn't just about goth, it was about how language helps us understand and talk about culture and question the assumptions we make about people. Being fluent isn't just about grammar or memorizing rules. It's about being able to express ideas, opinions, and even uncomfortable topics, but all with confidence. In my group classes, we have real conversations, relevant and cultural topics, kind of English you actually use in real life. If you want to be part of this, get in touch so you can join one of my group classes.